In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Rossi M92, or what many would now call them the R92 model carbine rifle. This is a lever action rifle, and one of the benefits today is many people have a lot of carbine options on the market today. The most popular, of course, now being the AR-15 carbine, which is a shorter length rifle similar to what you see here today. However, not everybody lives in a state where the politicians allow people to exercise their rights. There are certain states where the politicians don't exercise their rights and therefore want to limit your rights as well. So there's some utility for this rifle, both for people who live in states where they can't own the AR-15 platform, but more importantly, people who live in states where there are 2- and 4-legged predators out there, because you do have a lot of advantages to the 1892 platform. And when you look at carbines, just to begin with, so compare this, for example, to an AR-15 platform. This is the carbine M4 version, but you can see the size advantages. First off, you have with the 1892, which is clearly silhouetted by the AR-15. The AR-15 platform, of course, has longer length as well as size, both dimension-wise. So even though this is a small platform, the 1892 does give you some advantages. It's a tubular magazine. It's easy to fit into a lot of places, as well as be able to transport in scabbards or boxes or what have you. So it does give you some advantage from that perspective. So looking at the history of this rifle, originally this was a rifle that was developed by John Moses Browning. And what's interesting about this rifle is you see this in a lot of movies. So for example, one of our favorite people of all time, John Wayne, commonly carried the 1892 model, similar to what you see here today. And he carried typically a caliber. There's different calibers that this rifle came within. But a lot of westerns that you watch, especially the older westerns, you're going to see the 1892 platform being used quite a bit, both by the Indians and the cowboys and what have you. However, there's a lot of purists out there that wince at this, because the reality is the 1892 is not the rifle or the gun that won the West. That was actually the 73, followed by the 1883, and then of course the 1892, and then the 1894, which we commonly refer to now as the 3030 platform. So the reality is this was actually used at the end of the Western days, not when the big cowboys and Indian battles were being used, but that doesn't take away from its utility, but enough to want to use it in their Westerns and their production, simply because it is a great platform. Now looking a little bit more detail into the platform. So this is a 16-inch version barrel, which is the lowest version you can have on the rifle side. It also comes in around 5 pounds. Compare that, for example, to an AR-15 that usually starts at 6.5 pounds before you start adding various different components to the rifle. So first off, not only is it got a slender profile, but you also have a weight advantage as well, where it comes in at an easy 5 pounds to operate. The versatility of the 16-inch barrel makes it very easy to maneuver within small areas as well, so you got a lot of versatility with that. And then the other benefit you have is the calibers. Now there are multiple calibers that this rifle comes within, but the one I like the most is the 357 Magnum, because it gives you the ability, for example, to shoot both the hotter 357 loads as well as the lighter 38 special loads. The 357 Magnum was actually in the 1930s. I was involved with it, and what makes it such a great load is that it can be used for many different things. For hunting, he's even used them for bears and large game. So there's a lot of versatility beyond predators to 4-legged predators as well. The other advantage you have is when you fire a 3 Magnum out of a longer barrel as opposed to a revolver or a pistol, you get higher velocities out of the rounds as well. So the most popular rounds that I typically see and typically utilize are the Gold Dots and the Underwood ammo. Now Underwood makes 3 popular loads that are out there. The 158 grain, 180 grain bullets, and they will typically travel at about 1,700 foot-pounds per second down to 1,480 grain. However, these are all at 6-inch barrel lengths, and this also includes 800 foot-pounds of energy. So, for example, the 125 grain will scoot out at well over 1,700 feet per second on a 6-inch barrel. But you add in, you're going to get anywhere from 20 to 40% more muzzle velocity out of the actual round. So you're powering the round up by firing it out of a carbine. So in many cases, you're going to get really, really good ballistics out of the 125, 58, and 180 grains, especially if you use the hotter loads like those provided by companies like Underwood Ammo that are out there. The other thing you have is capacity. With the tubular magazine, you have 8+1 capacity on the 357 Magnum, and then you're able to use one more load with the 38 Special. So I'm using about 9+1, the 38 Special as well. So it gives you the ability to do target shooting and more lower load shooting out here as opposed to the 357. When you shoot a lot of the hotter you'll feel it. There's a metal butt plate in the rear of the rifle, and if I shoot 50 rounds of hot Underwood loads, I'll feel it the next day in my shoulder. You'll definitely get some kick out of the rifle. It only weighs pounds, and that's a lot of kick coming back at you. So you do have versatility with ammunition that's out there, but you know, if you can handle it, and I can handle it as well, but you just don't want to shoot too much of the hot loads, it really does give you a lot of versatility. You can utilize it for, as well as the capacity being 8+1 or 9+1. Now, there are other options in the market. So some people would say, you know what, I'd rather have excellent 1892 models, mind and how they're built. But they're also much more expensive, and many of them are actually becoming collectibles. So it takes us to the utility of why is this gun so good? Is it because it's better quality than those other guns? No, it's because of its utility. This is a perfect example of what you would have, for example, like a truck gun, or a gun you would keep for self-defense in your closet, or a brush gun, or things of that nature. Something you don't have to worry about banging up too much or devaluing it, because you're using it ultimately to have something there when you need it. And that's really where this shines. For the price and what you have here, the wood finish is very basic. Everything's very basic about it, but that's the whole point, is it's there when you don't have to worry about devaluing it when you're utilizing it. So when you're also buying these, there's a lot of people that make upgrades to the actions of the rifle. They can be very stiff. In this case, for example, this one, it's good enough for what it is. I don't feel like upgrade the action. There are some, however, that are better than others in the quality of what these are produced. So if you have an option choice when you're buying your Pumas, cycle the actions on the various different options you have and figure out which ones tend to cycle the best. This on the lockup into the bolt, and find the ones that tend to work the best for you. You have options to send them out to get these upgraded. A lot of guys in the Cowboy Action Shooting Society will actually do a full upgrade option where they will finely tune the actions where it literally is as smooth as, but again, one that's close have here, it doesn't need it. There are, however, a couple upgrades I always make on the Pumas when I receive them. The first thing is the spring plunger in the magazine well. The one that comes with the rifle is plastic, not a big, it's an easy change out. So what I do is, the first thing I do is I change the metal plunger I change the plastic plunger to a metal spring plunger, which is easy to do. You can unscrew, pop the spring out, put a new plunger in. The second upgrade I typically do on these rifles is I upgrade the sighting systems. So in this case, for example, I used a semi-buckhorn sight, which I love on this rifle. It's a good high-grade adjustable sighting system I utilize. It gives me a lot better accuracy with the rifle itself. And the third upgrade you'll want to make has to do with the most ridiculous thing they put on this rifle, which is a little flip safety lever. And you can see here, if you look closely enough, there's a fire and safe mode. And there used to be a little lever you could flip back and forth, which is completely useless on this rifle platform. But the good news is it's easy to replace it. So I've included a link below in the notes as to actually replace these, which is pretty easy. But what I did is I actually pulled it out and replaced it with a button, which actually has more utility than the safety itself. So that's the only thing you will definitely want to change out. I recommend changing out the sights as well, and then the plunger. And beyond that, it really is it's great for what it is. Now, as far as accuracy is concerned, so I did a couple shots here at medium to short range, similar to what you would have with a handgun, just to give you an example of the kind of accuracy you can get out of the Puma. Now, this is freestanding, so I'm not braced up against anything like you would normally have with a rifle. However, I am freestanding. And one of the benefits you have with a rifle over a pistol is you have 4 points of contact to create greater stability. That's why I always tell people a pistol is simply something to get you to your rifle. A rifle should always be your primary weapon system, no matter when you're in a bad situation. And the reason why is with the pistol, you're going to only have 1 or 2 points of contact. when you're firing the actual pistol. But with a rifle, you're going to have both hands as well as your cheek weld and your shoulder. Four points of stability onto the rifle. And as you can see, the accuracy, I'm pretty much close to keyholing. It opens up a little bit at 50 feet. And then when I shot a silhouette group at 70 feet, this was the first body shot, and then of course the headshots. For some reason, I don't know why, the headshots tend to open up a little bit on me. But the body shots were pretty close to keyholing once again. And this is at 70 feet, freestanding with a rifle. And that's the point. The point is the rifle platform is as far as defense platform, as well as accuracy within short to medium range. Actually, for two-legged predators, the Rossi really does shine. And you're also utilizing a very powerful load, one of my favorites, 7 Magnum. So when you look at all this together, overall, how do I view the rifle? Well, the first thing is this is a great value. That's why I own one. In fact, I've owned a couple of these over the years. It's a great value for what they are. They're highly versatile. You can use them in many different places. You don't have to worry about dinging them up or devaluing them. This is a utility rifle. It's also very nimble. It's got a 16-inch barrel, similar to you'll find with other carbines, and it's very easy to put in smaller places simply because of the size of the rifle itself. Rugged. It can take a beating from what I've seen. And ultimately, it's a great carbine alternative. So not everybody wants an AR-15. Not everybody can own, for example, an AR-15. And the actual rounds that you shoot out, the caliber of the AR-15 are limiting compared to the proven can be used in whatever situations for almost anything in the North American continent. So all in all, it's a great rifle. If you have a chance to buy one, I would definitely recommend it, and hope this helps. If you like our channel, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.